What's up, guys? It's Zero here. The Cyberpunk Orion story. Let's talk about it. So Cyberpunk Orion, or Cyberpunk 2, is the very highly anticipated sequel to Cyberpunk 2077. Although it's really anticipated at this point in time, as, obviously Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty came out to a massive reception. It's left us as fans really excited for the future of the franchise. So what I got for you today is Cyberpunk Orion's story and what it all could encompass. Let's get into it. In an article coming to us from Carrie Lambertson of Screen Rant, Cyberpunk 2077 sequel codename could actually be a huge plot hint. Cyberpunk 2077's upcoming sequel has no official name yet, but is referenced to as Project Orion, a name that could have multiple meanings behind it. Cyberpunk 2077 sequel is a long way off, but the codename that cdprojektred is using for it may be hiding some clues as to what the plot of the next game will focus on. The recently released Phantom Liberty expansion DLC to Cyberpunk 2077 was the last major content addition to the current game, and a sequel to the RPG is in the early stages of design. Currently referred to as Project Orion, the upcoming game doesn't have much else revealed yet beyond that it is a sequel. Project Orion is underway, but eager fans should not hold their breath, as it will be a long time before it will be available for release, likely at least a couple of years. Right now, it is in the conceptual design stages, but the name Orion suggests that there is a definite direction that it is headed. Of course, the name could also be merely a codename that has nothing to do with the future Cyberpunk 2077 sequel's plot and is just a good term, or even something more specific, like the name of the next main character, for instance. One simple word can hold a lot of significance when trying to uncover what may be happening in the future of Cyberpunk 2077's Night City. In this case, Orion is the codename that the team at cdprojektred is using for its new game and could have a plethora of directions it points. The term Orion could reference the constellation, the hunter of Greek mythology, a theoretical NASA spacecraft, or even a tie-in to nuclear power. Additionally, when used as a name, Orion can mean dawning, which could point to the dawning of a new age for Cyberpunk 2077's Night City. The most obvious meaning behind the title Project Orion is that Cyberpunk 2077 sequel could include space travel. The Cyberpunk universe already has space stations, including the posh Crystal Palace with its casinos and luxury apartments for the upper class. Currently, in the real world, NASA has a spacecraft called Orion, which is designed to transport humans deep into space and provide safe re-entry. Between this spacecraft and the Orion constellation, it is clear that the name Orion likely has some cosmic meaning. A similar space-focused reference could be another Project Orion that took place in the 1950s and 60s. A real-life Project Orion was conducted by NASA, the US Air Force, and DARPA to test out the viability of using nuclear explosions to propel a spacecraft. Originally, they were to use a nuclear pulse to launch a spacecraft from the ground, but then later moved to theoretically triggering atomic explosions once in space for added propulsion. The project was eventually halted for many reasons, but mainly due to concerns of nuclear fallout. This entire idea feels very cyberpunk in nature, however, and is easily something that could have happened in this dystopian future. So to talk about Cyberpunk Orion going to space, this is a really fascinating thing, guys, because obviously there are space stations within Cyberpunk 2077, and it would be really interesting to see what cdprojektred would decide to do with, going to space or having some form of space travel. Cyberpunk Orion and the Cyberpunk universe could be more related to Starfield than we might think. Following that same thought process of nuclear propulsion with NASA's Project Orion, Cyberpunk's Project Orion could be a more subtle nod to nuclear power. Cyberpunk 2077 lore already has a history of the Night City Holocaust, which involved a nuclear weapon being detonated in one of Arasaka's towers in 2023, thanks in large part to Johnny Silverhand himself. The upcoming Project Orion could build upon this foundation with potentially involving another nuclear blast or nuclear warfare and following Johnny Silverhand's legacy. Before cdprojektred is going to be able to dive into working on Project Orion, the team is going to undergo a massive transition to the United States of America from Warsaw, Poland. The cdprojektred location Warsaw, as well as one in Vancouver, will still be operational, but their new Boston location will be the primary headquarters for the Cyberpunk 2077 sequel. In a recent presentation for investors via the CD Projekt IR YouTube channel, the studio head of CD Projekt Red, Adam Bukowski, spoke a little about Project Orion. This project is on the conceptual design level right now, and it's going to be designed by a team of veterans who are responsible for designing Cyberpunk 2077 and designing Phantom Liberty. This means that if the game is not past conceptual design stages yet, it will likely be a couple of years minimum before Project Orion is released. The company is aiming for the development team to be established at its new studio and begin working in earnest on the project in late 2024. So Cyberpunk Orion, or Cyberpunk 2, is being worked on currently from CD Projekt Red, which is really exciting, obviously, guys. Yes, it's just in the conceptual design phase, but the fact of the matter is that they are working on this game. So in my mind, CD Projekt Red has probably a number of teams working on a number of projects. Number one, the next game coming from CD Projekt Red is more than likely going to be the next Witcher title, which they're bringing out a brand new Witcher trilogy, and so that's probably going to be the next game coming from them. And then I would say that Cyberpunk Orion is going to be the next one after the next Witcher. Although Project Orion is still in the pre-development planning stages, CD Projekt Red has given some small pieces of information about what the team is hoping to include. In the presentation for investors, CD Projekt Red stated that most of its games moving forward will include multiplayer, which was the original intent for Cyberpunk 2077 before the multiplayer was canceled. Though it was not specifically stated in the presentation, this could include Project Orion. Additionally, the description for Project Orion states that it will demonstrate the power and potential that is in the Cyberpunk universe. So far, all of these ideas are purely speculative until CD Projekt Red announces more regarding what they have planned for the next game in the Cyberpunk universe. Project Orion is a name that could simply be a good name, or even used specifically to throw people off the scent of where the plot is headed. Being able to visit space, even in small instance quests on space stations, would be an exciting prospect for a future game and is something that feels very futuristic in Cyberpunk in itself. In terms of the story, guys, there's a lot of talk about this throughout the community. In Cyberpunk Orion, there's a lot of talk currently that this is going to go way into the future. In terms of skipping ahead, where we won't be playing as V anymore, maybe we're going to find out what happened to V. Obviously, no matter which choice you make at the end of Cyberpunk 2077, V's fate is pretty much set in stone. V is destined to die, and so maybe they just wanted to kind of leave it open-ended and kind of bring it back around in some way, shape, or form in Cyberpunk Orion. I think a new character and a new cast of characters in general would be really, really good for the Cyberpunk universe, but I also, in that same vein, believe that it's important we see existing characters from Cyberpunk 2077, which would give us players a lot of familiarity as well. There's also talk that they're going to go back in time, you know, before the events of Cyberpunk 2077, which would be really interesting as well. No matter which way that they go with Project Orion, it's going to be really fascinating, to say the least, to see what CD Projekt Red decides to do. Whether it's going way into the future or into the past, or just continuing from V's story where we left off, it's going to be really interesting, to say the least, what CD Projekt Red decides to do next with this iconic franchise. But what do you guys think? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below about the story of Cyberpunk Orion and where you think they're going to be going here in the future. I'll be sure to keep you guys all up to speed as more information comes out. And at the end of the gameplay, watch my next Cyberpunk Orion video. And if you guys enjoy, make sure you leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, stay positive, just keep grinding. And as always, I'll talk to you guys all in the next one. Peace.
You will have to get down somehow. Just be careful. Yes, just so. Don't rush. I need you alive, not the corpse below.
These words are not for his Target down.
Good words to hear. You will find a door to a staircase at the end of the room. It's the shortest route to the next sniper. He positioned himself high.
Keep you posted.
You're only making it worse for yourself. I'm out.
P, it is on again. Listen.
We have to announce that public safety has been compromised. She must be extracted at once. Arasaka is fully capable of protecting its principles. Ask your boss what he values more. The Arasaka image or his sister's life. The situation is in hand. Over and out.
Did you hear? They know something. Perhaps not. We must hurry. Try to reach the maintenance area. You can climb up from there. And if that doesn't work, you can use the footbridge to your right. Watch out for the floor change unless you intend to get cooked. I'll keep my head low. Those pipes look strong. Try to climb them.
All units report. Opening fire. Firing at close range. Fire! Fire!
A shooter patrols the footbridge.
That would be all.
Yes, apparently. Well done. One problem remains.
And that is...
The Arasaka Netrunner. She has taken control of all the networks. We must get rid of her. We'll not be able to hijack the float otherwise. She hides in an unfinished apartment building near to the second sniper's nest.
Okay, on my way.